Chris Matthews.
At FoxNews.com. There's the email address, O'Reilly@FoxNews.com. Love to hear from you. That's it for us today. Thanks for watching The Factor. Hannity and Combs will continue our Katrina coverage. I'm Bill O'Reilly. Hope to see you again next time. And remember, the spin stops right here because we're looking out for you.
This is a Fox News alert. The mayor of New Orleans has issued an SOS and ordered almost the entire police force to abandon search and rescue efforts in order to deal with the thieves and criminals that are running amok inside his devastated city. There were reports today of robberies, rapes, carjackings, riots, and murder. Violent gangs are roaming the streets at night, hidden by the cover of darkness. The situation at the Superdome can only be described as chaos. Thousands packed into buses to head for Houston. In their wake, they left trash, human refuse, and dead bodies. Fights broke out inside. Shots were fired outside, suspending the evacuation. And still, all across the city tonight, thousands of people wait, praying for a way out. In a symbol of the city's hopelessness, a fire raged in a housing complex near the Superdome this afternoon. There were no firemen to put it out, no ambulances to help the wounded. All anyone could do in a city flooded with water was watch the fire burn. More than 28,000 National Guard troops have been deployed to the area to restore order. And as the day progressed, their presence became more and more evident. If, in the past few days, it has been said that Hurricane Katrina pushed the city to the brink, then now it has pushed past the brink. The New Orleans of Mardi Gras, the New Orleans of outdoor jazz. For the moment, that New Orleans is no more. We start tonight with our own Steve Harrigan, who's reporting from Monterey, Louisiana. Steve.
Alan, you can probably hear those helicopters behind me. We've seen Black Hawks, Chinook's Coast Guard helicopters every few minutes circling above. They are still taking out the very desperately needy, landing there. This open-air highway has turned into a triage center for a hospital despite the rain, despite the mess, despite the crowds. The crowds are what we are seeing. Look over here to my right. This is what people have here. Pretty much absolutely nothing. You see a family of 12 right there on the ground, on the pavement, not getting any help. When it was rain, they got soaked. When it was hot, they got baked. People here waiting now for buses to take them out. They've been waiting for up to 8 or 10 hours. These are the weakest of the weak, diabetics, old people, and families unable to move. The helicopters continue the rescue work, but there's been no movement out of here, and this is an angry crowd. We saw one bus come through with a diabetic patient. There was an almost riot when it didn't pick the people up. Now, earlier this morning, we saw a wave of small boats, flat boats, all the way back. These were people who wanted to go out and rescue people, but because the first round of boaters were fired on, they were shot on in some neighborhoods, all those boaters were pulled back. So as you can hear now, the rescue continues, but it is quite slow by helicopter. And when they get to this staging point, they are not moving, and Alan, they are not happy about it. Back to you in New York.
Steve, how are these people? I mean, I can only imagine, is there lots of scurrying for position to make sure that who is saved first, who's taken out first? What is the mood of the people, and how are they behaving in light of the circumstances you just described?
Alan, I wouldn't be at all surprised if there's going to be a riot here tonight. That's the anger. It's at a fever pitch. When it rains, everyone crowds under the underpass. And when that first bus comes, there is going to be a real scramble to get on, if it comes.
Hey, Steve, it's Sean Hannity here. I mean, when you have the New Orleans mayor issuing a desperate SOS, based on what you're saying, you're really describing scenes of a societal breakdown in many, many ways. How many people are we talking about now? How accurate a picture are we painting here in terms of the real potential for real trouble here?
Right here, we're seeing about 2,000 or 3,000 people, and they are pretty angry in this little section. But there are still people abandoned back there, still people waiting to come out. So how far it spreads, I don't know. But from this vantage point, this is a real hot spot. And we've seen that anger. We've seen some fighting. And along with the troublemakers, there are some really weak people here. A diabetic woman sitting right behind the camera. Her clothes are soaked. She's frightened right now. She doesn't know where she's going to go tonight, and there's no one here to help her out.
Steve, thank you very much. And joining us now from Washington is the man coordinating the federal government's response to the disaster, the Secretary of Homeland Security, Michael Chertoff. Mr. Secretary, thank you very much for being with us tonight. We really do appreciate it.
Good evening.
I saw your news conference today, and, you know, you talked about pre-staging and you talked about pre-positioning resources. In light of that, why are we seeing what we're seeing? We're hearing words like, you know, possible riots. Why is this happening if that level of pre-staging was taking place?
Well, you know, Alan, this has been a unique challenge among all disasters. It was really a double disaster. In the traditional hurricane comes in or the flood comes in, it goes away, and then you bring in the relief and you begin to address the victims and the situation. Here we had a hurricane, and it was followed the next day by a flood. And that flood is still underway, so that as we send people in, they have the challenge of actually dealing with an ongoing catastrophe. They have to deal with 6, 8 feet of water. They have to deal with the inability to find dry ground in which to set up. This has added an element of challenge and complexity to the relief effort that I frankly think is unprecedented.
Are we learning anything here? I mean, heaven forbid, you know, we've talked about what would happen in this country if we had a terrorist attack, if somebody had a dirty bomb. Does this teach us anything about how we might respond in such a situation?
Well, I certainly think that the catastrophic magnitude of this tragedy rivals anything we could imagine, or virtually anything we could imagine from a terrorist. We didn't have the direct loss of life as far as we know that would come from a huge bomb. But in terms of the collateral consequences, in terms of the people who are sick and suffering and who are exposed to the possibility of fatal illness or death, in terms of the destruction and the pain, I think it's at a level that's comparable to the worst tragedies we've seen. We've learned some lessons. We've learned some things we've done well. We've recognized the challenge, in particular, in preserving public order. I have to say, I think we're all a little disappointed that a small minority of the city has decided they want to exploit the vulnerability of others. I still think most people really want to be rescued. I understand that they're anxious, they're afraid. Many of them are hurt or feeling weak. Clearly, for these people, even an hour delay seems like an eternity. The only thing I can tell you is that the rescuers are working tirelessly to get what they have on hand through the debris, through the water, and get help.
We've heard from other countries that they've offered help, even Venezuela, Jamaica. I understand 20 countries, and all has been refused. Will that continue to be the case, and is there a reason we should not accept help from other countries?
Well, we haven't refused help. In fact, we've been grateful for help and we've welcomed it. What we want to do, though, is we want to make sure that we get the help in the most effective way. This is going to be a long process, Alan. We're not going to just stop when we evacuate people. We're going to have to find them temporary shelter. We're going to have to find them long-term shelter. We're going to have to drain and clean the city, and we're going to have to rebuild it. This is, as the president said the other day, this is a task that is going to take not months but years. So there's going to be plenty of opportunity to apply the resources that we get from generous people in the country and people overseas. Our first and most immediate requirement is to get people out of the city of New Orleans, and also, by the way, to address some very urgent needs in Mississippi and Alabama as well.
Mr. Secretary Sean Hannity, thank you for being with us in this very difficult time for you and for the government, the president, and everybody else. There is some whining, there is some complaining. Is there a little bit of politics going on here, or do you feel that you are doing the best you possibly can? I know we got 10,000 National Guard troops headed in there. Do you think you have enough people in the right places in an expeditious time frame here?
Sean, we do have enough people, and we're bringing more in. And of course, we began immediately when the hurricane ended by starting to move people in. We then had to deal with the issue of the flood. And we are continuing to increase the resources we bring to bear. We're working, for example, to get trains into New Orleans overnight so we can start to use trains to remove people and evacuate them. We're working on an air bridge, a way to get people to an airport and start to get planes into the airport now that we can open it up again. So as time passes, we're getting a lot of work done. But I'm very well aware of the fact that the clock is ticking for people who are suffering, and that every hour that goes by is an hour of pain and difficulty.
Mr. Secretary, are you confident that everybody that is affected, more specifically in New Orleans, that needs food, that needs water, that needs shelter, that needs medical care at this hour is able to get it?
Sean, I have to tell you, we are seeking desperately to give everybody the care they need. People have begun in the last day to emerge from places of shelter that we didn't know about. Some of them go to designated refuges, but some of them don't. They congregate on portions of I-10 or in dry spots in the street. And the challenge for us is to get them the food and water. We have to make sure we can drop it in a place that they get access to. We have to make sure we don't have fighting or scuffling that breaks out. So the issue here is really not a lack of resources.
Yeah.
It is the difficulty of distributing them.
Let's talk specifically about the New Orleans mayor issuing a desperate SOS. All the video that America is looking at, the looting, the lawlessness, the crime that has been reported. How soon do you think it will be, Mr. Secretary, until that situation is under complete and full control?
Well, we have 1,400 supplemental National Guard military police arriving today. We'll have an equal number tomorrow, more thereafter. You know, essentially that is like doubling the size of the New Orleans police force every single day. The president has made it very clear that we are not going to tolerate lawlessness. We have a lot of compassion for those who are suffering, but we will not spare those people who are preying on others. We've got to get about the business of getting people out of here and getting them shelter and food and water without being hindered.
Mr. Secretary, we thank you very much for being with us tonight. Thank you so much for being here. There are troubling reports tonight coming from inside the city of New Orleans. There have been shootings. There are reports of people being robbed and raped. Shots have been fired at police officers, and gangs roam the street at night in the darkness. Joining us now on the phone is Jerry Lynn Parker. Now, she's a nurse at Charity Hospital in New Orleans who's still in the city and has seen some of this violence. Can you explain to us, Jerry Lynn, what's going on around you right now?
In the last couple of hours, we have seen an influx of wildlife and fisheries agents have come in. They've started evacuating ambulatory patients from the hospital, taking them to the Superdome so that they can be hooked up with a convoy and be taken to whatever hospital beds have been designated for them around the state. We still have water standing. We still have armed guards standing at our front and back door to deter people that are trying to come in here for shelter. We have no food for them. We have no water for them. We have no food and water for ourselves.
Have you witnessed violence firsthand?
No, not firsthand, but we have heard reports of a National Guardsman that was shot yesterday in the leg at the Superdome. We've heard reports of violence taking place in the Superdome itself, but nothing here at the hospital. Everybody's pretty much turned away before they even get close to the door.
Carolyn and Sean Hannity, thanks for being with us. I appreciate it. You're a nurse. Are you seeing that people that need the medical care are getting the care they need? Are people getting the food they need, the water they need where you are?
We have gotten rid of all of our patients in our unit. There are only about 45 patients left in the hospital. The unit that I work in evacuated 9 patients this morning within an hour. 4 of those patients were on ventilators. We were able to give them the minimal that they needed while that they were here. We had not enough food to give them. Lunch yesterday was 2 or 3 raviolis in a cup and a bottle of water and a pack of 2 crackers.
Yeah. In many ways, like we're looking at video here, well organized, volunteers, food prepared, water prepared, shelter prepared, people are being taken care of. You couple that with other videos of the lawlessness, the looting, and those other scenes here. In that sense, are there 2 separate scenes going on simultaneously?
Yes. Within the hospital, the staff of the hospital, along with the doctors and the ancillary staff, everybody has put forth 200% of their effort to get these patients out of here, as well as ourselves. We are all here on a voluntary basis, even though we're stranded now. We all chose to be here because we knew it was going to be a horrific. It is our infrastructure that is keeping us together. It is nothing. It is no outside influence whatsoever. It is our facility pulling together to keep ourselves safe. It has nothing to do with the city of New Orleans. It has nothing to do with the state of Louisiana. We have not seen any federal government. We have not seen any state government. We have not seen any New Orleans police officers.
Geraldine, we thank you very much for sharing your experience with us, and that it's good to hear that people are pulling together where you are. Thank you so much. Joining us now on the phone is Julie Lewis from the Louisiana State Police. I wonder what you make of what we just heard from this nurse at Charity Hospital saying we've not seen authorities, not seen police officers. Is that a problem for you?
No, I know for a fact that we have teams that have been in that area and basically have been there and acting as security basis. Because I know we've had calls. We had so many problems with rumors being spread amongst in the media that we're being forced to take false calls. So our SWAT team is being called in to areas where there essentially really is no problem. So I know our SWAT team has been in there.
Now, we're hearing words of rapes, of looting, of violence, of crimes. What is your priority right now?
Right after the hurricane hit, our priority initially was to assist in the capacity of rescue and recovery. Now, some of our focus obviously has changed. Now we're back in the law enforcement role. While we do have officers who are still escorting those evacuees in those buses, we are now back in the law enforcement capacity where we are assisting New Orleans PD and the National Guard in the arresting of those armed looters, that criminal element.
Hey, Julie, the mayor said this is a desperate SOS as New Orleans, quote, descended into anarchy. I want to specifically address this issue because the law enforcement that was involved in search and rescue and assistance is now being pulled off to deal with the criminal element here. Explain that process. Explain, what activities are being abandoned and why.
Well, I don't want the public to think by any stretch that search and rescue has been abandoned by us. The U.S. Coast Guard and the National Guard, and you have Wildlife and Fisheries from, say, Louisiana and Texas, they are still actively out there. They're out there. We got more and more coming in every day. As you heard, we got more National Guard coming in. We had a total of up to 40,000 troops coming in.
Well, maybe I need to ask the question a different way. Are people that have been involved in the assistance and the search and the rescue, are police officers being taken off that task to deal with the looting and the crime that is being reported as rampant?
Yes, a great number were pulled off, but the reason being it's not so much for the protection of property. That's not the issue. That's secondary. Lives are first. But the problem is we have that criminal element who are basically the armed street gangs who they've always been a criminal element. They're a criminal element year-round. They're just now making themselves more prevalent in the streets, and now they are threatening the lives of those who are trying to reach the buses to evacuate, and that's what we're going to prevent. We want to make sure, we want to preserve these people's lives so they can get to safety.
Julie, thank you for the update. Thank you for being with us tonight. As of today, the American Red Cross is providing shelter for nearly 76,000 evacuees. More than 275 shelters have been set up from the panhandle of Florida across Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Georgia, and Texas. This does not include the Superdome in New Orleans or the Astrodome in Houston. We now go to the Red Cross shelter in Baton Rouge and Fox's Molly Henneberg. What's going on there right now, Molly?
Hey, Alan. Well, one of the main problems here is that people have no way to contact their loved ones because cell phones don't work and they don't have access to the internet. So now what the Red Cross is doing is they're handing out these sheets. They're email forms where you can put your name and the email address of whomever you want to write and a brief message. And the Red Cross says it will email out for you and it will say that you're safe at the Baton Rouge River Center and give the address and a phone number where people can call for more information. And I want to show you something here that's something these people look forward to. Can you just show the cots over there? There was a family on the floor right behind us. They've been on the floor for 2 days, and now they've just gotten cots. And that is something that just makes their day here when they get a cot and they get up off the floor. Really quickly, before I introduce you to some people here, I think we have some video of people getting food today. I mean, it is amazing that they are able to feed 5,000 people 3 meals a day here. And the Red Cross and volunteers, they buy the food, and in this case today, the local Southern Baptist churches, they cook the food, and then the Red Cross distributes it, and these people got a hot meal of barbecue and baked beans and soda. I want to introduce you to a couple of the younger people here. First, let me bring in Courtney Rains. Courtney, you've been here for how long?
4 days.
4 days?
Yes.
And why did you leave your home?
Because it was flooded. We didn't have anywhere to go.
And you came here, and how's it been at the shelter?
It's been all right. It's a good environment. A lot of people here that I know, people I can meet. It's all right. We have food, a roof over our head, and something to eat. We're all right.
All right, great. Thank you, Courtney Rains. And let me talk. We're going to try something here. That was great, Courtney. We're going to talk to Deanna McGee. Deanna, can you come over here? This is one of the younger people here at the shelter. Deanna, how old are you?
7.
7. And where are you from?
New Orleans.
And what's it been like for you here?
1.
Tell me what you do during the day.
Eat food and play.
What do you do to play?
Run around.
Yeah.
And color.
And you color, and you have some friends here too with you. How has the food been?
Good.
What'd you have tonight to eat? Did you have barbecue and some beans? Good. All right. right, well, we wanted to try and get some younger faces on here today, and that's you have to see some of the kids here. You know, it's interesting. Today they had movie day for the kids. They showed The Incredibles upstairs, and they let the kids come up and have some time watching the movies. And the Red Cross is asking for donations of kid-friendly DVDs. So if anybody has some of those, they could use them here at the River Center. Alan?
Thank you very much for that fine report. Still to come tonight, Molly will join us with some more emotional stories of survival from the people who managed to escape New Orleans. We'll also go live to Alabama, where entire communities have been destroyed and people are wondering when they'll get their lives back. And you'll hear from a doctor who works at a hospital inside New Orleans. What he's seen is shocking. He'll tell you all about it. You won't believe it. Coming up.
This program is brought to you by Lincoln Financial Group, providing powerful financial resources to help you say hello, future.
Roberta, I can see you as a file clerk. You ever thought about that? It's a great way to meet eligible lawyers. You have to think about your future. File clerk. Yeah.
File clerk? Have you ever considered becoming a lawyer?
That one thing you've always wanted to do? It's still out there, just waiting for you to say, hello, future. Call your advisor about the powerful resources of Lincoln Financial Group.
More and more people are switching to the trucks and SUVs they really want. GMC.
Going from the Dodge to the Sierra, I love this ride.
I shopped for 6 months. The Yukon had everything I wanted.
I'm so glad I moved up from my Ford into this new GMC.
You can still get the employee discount for everyone on remaining 2005 models. Right now, get an 05 Yukon two-wheel drive SLE for just $28,687. See the pros at your local GMC dealers.
Sharp multifunction products transform the office by adding enhanced color to your documents. Then Sharp technology doubled your productivity by scanning two-sided documents in a single pass. Now Sharp's Data Security Kit is transforming the office again by preventing unauthorized access to information while keeping sensitive digital documents from falling into the wrong hands. The Sharp Digital Imager Series, all the productivity you want, all the document security you need.
Are oil companies thinking ahead?
Oil companies have an obligation to try to develop things to be cleaner, safer, and better for the environment. And if that means expanding their product line to have alternative types of fuels, whether it be wind, hydrogen, solar, whatever it may be. And I'm not an engineer, so I don't have the answer. But I think it's incumbent upon them to try to do that.
Since we introduced the Ford Family Plan, hundreds of thousands of Americans have joined in on the savings. Now we're extending the plan until September 6th. Get the same low prices Ford employees pay for America's most popular line of SUVs. Family pricing on Ford Explorer, America's best-selling, most trusted SUV. Now get a Ford Explorer with employee pricing for only $24,414. Save over $8,000 on the #1 selling SUV in the Northwest. No hassles, no gimmicks. Visit your local Northwest Ford store today.
As the leader in high-speed internet, Comcast knows broadband better than anyone. So Comcast Workplace gives your business speeds up to 7 megs and state-of-the-art security features. All from a company you can count on, day in and day out. When Comcast comes to work, everything simply works.
Welcome back to Hannity and Combs. I'm Sean Hannity. Our own Rick Leventhal took to the skies of Mississippi today. Let's take a look.
We are 600 feet above the Gulf of Mexico to show you a bird's-eye view of the extensive damages that this area has suffered here. This is remarkable. This was a functioning bridge on Sunday before the hurricane hit. And that bridge is destroyed. There are a series of casinos here along the Gulf Coast that have been heavily damaged. You look at that casino just completely collapsing into the water. We're now approaching the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino that was just built and was scheduled for its grand opening at Wednesday night at midnight. And the hotel has been heavily damaged. The casino is destroyed. A lot of the churches in Harrison County suffered extensive damages. You're looking at one now. The roof is gone. Much of the stained glass has been blown out, and there's little left. But we did pass one per church with a sign out front that said, services tomorrow, bring a chair. We had heard that 90% of the structures between the tracks and the beach were destroyed. That doesn't seem to be the case. That seems to be an exaggeration, because there are homes still standing, there are apartment buildings still standing, and condominiums still standing. And I think a lot can be learned from what survived this particular hurricane and what didn't. Some of the new construction did very well. Some of it did not. Some of the old construction is still here. And some homes that were built well before Camille and survived Hurricane Camille in 1969 did not make it through this storm. Look at those trucks, just tossed about, clearly swept up by the water, and just a line of tractor-trailer rigs. The trailers themselves just toppled around, piled up on their side, laying on top of each other. This is a kids' amusement center attached to the Grand Casino. Also was a barge out on the water that's been just moved right onto Highway 90. There's another barge way over there. There's a church, another church building. We've seen so many churches built here near the Gulf of Mexico that have been destroyed by this hurricane. This place was clearly a mansion with a pool and a metal frame, and there's not much left there. McDonald's is flat. There's nothing left of McDonald's except the golden arches. Beyond that, a big Kmart store. The roof is still standing, but the walls are gone, and everything that was inside appears to have been washed away. There's no better way to survey damages than from above, and we now have a sobering sense of just how incredibly widespread the devastation is and how difficult the recovery process will be. Above the Gulf Coast of Mississippi, Rick Leventhal, Fox News.
Unbelievable devastation. Joining us now on the phone from Houston, Texas, where many of Louisiana's evacuees are now being sent, is American Red Cross official Darren Irby. Darren, we look at the devastation. We look at that. It is unbelievable. How are we doing in the rescue and relief effort?
Well, we're doing the best we can. Obviously, we have shelters all across the Gulf Coast region, and we sheltered somewhere, I think, 50,000 or a little bit more last night. And a lot of those folks, as you know, have been transported from the Superdome to the Astrodome, and we're trying to make those families as comfortable as possible here in their new facilities.
Hey, Darren, it's Alan Combs. I know a lot of people are contributing, as they should, to the Red Cross. And how is it determined how resources are distributed?
Well, right now we're in what's called the immediate response phase of the Red Cross, and basically that means that we are meeting their immediate needs, which is providing a safe and as comfortable as possible place to stay, and food, and our mental health programs as well. And obviously we're going to be at this for months and probably years, and we'll go into that long-term recovery phase where we'll meet with each individual person that's been impacted and try and meet their longer-term needs as soon as we get out of this critical stage.
All right, Darren, thank you very much. We appreciate it. We're going to go live, by the way, to Houston in just a few moments, and we'll check in with our own Greta Van Susteren, who is at the Astrodome tonight. But first, joining us for federal relief efforts, and the very latest, is Louisiana Congressman Bobby Jindal is with us. Congressman, relief efforts, are they adequate? Are they up to speed? Are we getting people food, medicine, shelter as they need it, and water?
You know, there's a lot of frustration on the ground. Clearly, more needs to be done. This is not to take away at all from the heroic work being done by first responders, people that are going in at risking their own safety to literally take people out of the water, take people off of roofs. People that are getting to shelters outside of New Orleans are being taken care of very well. More needs to be done for the people still in New Orleans. There are people in hospitals. There are people still in buildings. There's still people on the roads. We need to get them out of New Orleans as quickly as possible. We need to get control of the security situation.
I agree. To what extent is the lawlessness, the looting, the limited resources that are being diverted towards that problem hindering all of the efforts that you want to accomplish, that everybody wants to accomplish?
It's awful. You talk to the state police, you talk to the medics, you talk to first responders, they tell you they're very frustrated. They're having to divert resources to do security. We had to arrange for an armed escort to send in doctors to relieve medical professionals at a hospital. These are life-saving personnel, and they required an armed escort to get there. The mayor sent 1,500 police away from rescue missions to providing security. So it's causing a great deal of frustration. The vast majority of people are opening up their hearts and their homes to people in need. A small minority is taking advantage of this situation. They're resorting to violence. I think one of the early things that should have happened, we should have set a zero tolerance policy and said anybody committing a crime will be locked up, will be taken off the streets. Because it started with looting, it quickly escalated into violence, and now we're trying to take control of the city again.
Congressman, it's Alan Combs. I understand you had a personal loss here, that your own home suffered damage. You lost your home in the flooding?
Well, there's a lot of uncertainty. Our home is in an area that got hit very hard. We haven't been back, obviously, to see it. We don't know. But, you know, the reality is my wife, my kids got out on Sunday. I'm grateful to have my family intact. There are thousands of people that are in even worse situations. Property can be replaced. None of us cares about the house, not even wedding pictures. All that stuff can be replaced. I'm just grateful. There are a lot of people looking for kids, looking for parents. Life is too precious. So we're very, very grateful. We're very, very, very grateful that our kids are safe.
It's heartbreaking to see, and you have a great perspective, given what you've gone through, to see the throngs of people, many of whom don't know where other family members are. How are they going to get help in a timely fashion?
You know, there have been some heroic agencies and individuals, the American Red Cross, the Salvation Army, Baptist organizations, Catholic charities. They're working very hard to reunite survivors. They're working very hard to provide housing. People literally in Baton Rouge, where we are, and across the state, are opening up spare bedrooms to complete strangers. Churches are opening their doors, taking people into their churches. Just as we're seeing the worst behavior in the looting, we're also seeing the best behavior. The American people have been very generous. People from all over the country and other states are opening the doors as well.
All right, Congressman, we wish you the best. We appreciate you being with us tonight. Thank you very much. Now, still to come, we're going to go back to New Orleans. We're going to get the very latest on that crisis that literally is growing by the hour. Our own Greta Van Susteren is at the Astrodome tonight. We'll check in with her. And later, the Reverend Franklin Graham. He'll tell us what you can do to help bring relief to those who need it most. We got a lot more to come tonight. Straight ahead.
Farmers Help Point. How can I help you?
We've had a fire in our home. They're on their way.
Farmers Help Point service starts getting things back to normal the moment you call. And it's free with your policy. To find an agent near you, call 1-800-FARMERS.
Justice depends on fair judges who do not prejudge cases. When President Clinton nominated Ruth Bader Ginsburg to the Supreme Court to avoid even the appearance of prejudging cases, Democratic Senator Joe Biden urged her to refuse answering questions that could come before the court.
You not only have a right to choose what you will answer and not answer, but in my view, you should not answer.
Ginsburg followed his advice.
I do not want to give here any hints. I would not like to answer that question. I cannot say anything more than I have already said.
Even so, she was overwhelmingly confirmed in a bipartisan vote, 96-3. Now, Judge John Roberts has been nominated to the Supreme Court. As with Ginsburg, Judge Roberts should not answer questions that force him to prejudge cases. Some senators will object for solely partisan reasons, but a fair judge deserves to be treated fairly. Urge the Senate to give John Roberts a fair up or down vote.
Start a new journey. Chart a new course. Go a new way. Discover the new Infinities at the Infinity Limited Engagement Summer Event. Like the 280 horsepower Infinity FX, the SUV with the heart of a sports car. See your Infinity dealer for attractive lease and finance rates. But don't wait too long. Infinity's limited engagement ends September 6th.
So we need 90 notebooks, Wi-Fi enabled ASAP?
Right.
You just want me to make them appear now? All right.
바로 파코 아초.
I'm just kidding. I'll call CDW. You'll have your notebooks in no time.
Nobody responds like CDW. With great technology like the HP Compact Tablet PC TC4200 with Intel Centrino mobile technology. CDW, the right technology, right away.
Stories of courage out there. Welcome back to Hannity and Combs. I'm Sean Hannity. We go live to Fox's David Lee Miller. He's standing by for an update of what's going on in New Orleans tonight. David.
Sean, it is 8:32 in the evening here in New Orleans, and as you can see behind me, there are many buses. By our count, at least 20 of them, along with a police escort. These buses are now outside the Superdome. Each of them can carry between 40 and 55 people, so roughly at least 1,000 people are going to be on the move tonight. The precise location, or destination, I should say, is not clear. The authorities are not revealing where these buses are going to be taking passengers. They've been lining up here for the last half hour or so, and now, as I can see, they are just starting to move forward. They should be arriving at the Superdome, which is about 5 minutes from where I'm standing, and then hopefully some 1,000 people will be off to better accommodations. Meanwhile, as for what is taking place in the Superdome, we've talked to a number of people, and they describe the scene inside as nothing less than horrific. Although they are getting meals and they are getting water, they say the sanitary conditions are intolerable. They also say that a number of women have been raped. They also say that there have been at least a couple of gunshot incidents taking place in the last day. A number of people actually left the Superdome, Sean, rather than remain inside, saying that they were better off on their own on the streets of New Orleans than remaining in that facility. Meanwhile, conditions throughout the city here remain very difficult. There are, by the most recent estimates, still hundreds, if not more, people who are desperately in need of rescue. During the last few hours, we have seen the helicopters taking off, releasing their winches and bringing people back to the Superdome, but very, very quickly, time is running out. If these next rescues do not take place in the next day or so, the authorities say it is simply going to be too late. But tonight, as you can see for yourself, some good news for some 1,000 people. Help is indeed on the way. Sean?
All right, Fox's David Lee Miller in New Orleans tonight, and joining us now, Louisiana Senator David Vitter is with us. Senator, you heard David's report. Sanitary conditions are awful. Reports of rape. We've seen the video of all of the looting and the chaos, gunshots, violence. What's going on?
Well, that's going on, Sean. It's a very desperate situation, and we don't have nearly enough boots on the ground yet to restore security and get the job done. I've been pushing all day and all day yesterday toward that end, and hopefully it'll start to materialize there on the ground at least by tomorrow, but it's not there yet.
Is it basically just a factor of almost two disasters at once, the hurricane disaster, the break in the levee and the flooding, a second disaster?
Well, it's a lot of things that are way outside the box, and I'm not making excuses for anybody. But this isn't just a normal hurricane that blows through even with devastating impact, and then the next day families go back and pick up the pieces. This is an ongoing disaster. It really is. And again, that's not said to make excuses for anybody, but this is just way, way beyond what anybody's seen, including FEMA.
Senator, it's Alan Combs. Thank you for doing our show tonight. What are the logistics of getting more National Guard, of getting whatever help is needed? What are the logistics of that at this point?
Well, National Guard don't just need to come from Louisiana. They need to come from other states. Quite possibly, we need full-time military DOD assets. So it's a matter of getting them here and then deploying them to the right places.
Senator, thank you for being with us tonight. We appreciate it. And from the crisis in New Orleans, we move east now to Alabama. And Fox's own Jonathan Seri is standing by tonight in Daphne, Alabama. Jonathan.
Hi, Sean. Just an amazing scene. This is a gas station right off of I-10, a major interstate, and it ran out of gas. This morning, they filled up these pumps with a total of 10,000 gallons of gasoline, and that was at 6:30 a.m. local time, and by 3 p.m. local time, they had completely run out. We have some video to show you. This is what happened just after they ran out of gas. They actually had police officers directing traffic away from the area here because they had nearly a mile of cars packed up bumper to bumper waiting for gas, but no more at this gas station here. The problem is that refineries were damaged during the storm, the power outages at the refineries as well as flood damage. Some delicate equipment was damaged by the water. Well, if we come back to our live shot, you can now see that there are flashing blue lights on the other side of the interstate. That's because they have just received a shipment of gasoline at the gas station on the other side of the interstate, and so immediately a long line of cars accumulated. You can probably see all of the red brake lights leading up to that gas station, maybe half a mile of cars. They have a total of 5 police officers directing traffic and maintaining order, because it's amazing. Gasoline has become a precious commodity. It might as well be gold in this part of the country. Sean and Alan, back to you.
Jonathan Surrey in Alabama tonight. The area around Mobile Bay is one of the hardest hit in Alabama, and on Monday, the Christian charity organization Samaritan's Purse dispatched disaster relief teams to the area. And joining us now is the president and CEO of Samaritan's Purse, Franklin Graham, is with us. Franklin, welcome back. You know, I actually thought of you today. On the one hand, we have inspiring stories of people risking their lives, Reverend, to save their fellow human beings, donations, kindness, mercy. On the other side, we have looting, shooting, rape, and mayhem. What are we to make of that?
Well, you know, of course, Sean, this happens in our country when we have taken God out of our schools and God out of society. We don't have a moral standard, and we need to put God back into our schools. But listen, right now, in looking at this problem, I think the churches of America can step up to the plate. If every church in the Southeast took in 10 families, this would put a big dent in this problem. And I think that if you were a member of a Presbyterian church, if the Presbyterian churches across the South would open up their homes to 10 families, if the Catholics every church took in 10 families, the Southern Baptists, the AME churches, all across the South, the Methodists, everyone take in 10 families and do it for, say, we'll take you in for 3 months. This could put a big dent in this problem. And I think also, Sean, we do this overseas. We have food for work programs. I think every man that's sitting down in those superdomes sitting, the government ought to get them and say, get up, you're coming with us, and you're going back to New Orleans, and you're going to work for us, and we're going to pay you $20-30 an hour or whatever, and we're going to help clean up the cities. We do this overseas. We're doing this in Indonesia right now, food for work programs, where if you work, you get food. And they are happy for the jobs, but these people ought to be put to work. It's going to take months, years to rebuild these communities, and you got to start somewhere. And let's put these people right now that are out of work, let's give them a job, let the government hire them.
Franklin, it's Alan. Thank you for coming on the show tonight. Aren't we seeing that, though? There are people and probably churches all over the country opening up their homes, opening on their hearts, saying, we have space, we have beds, come here. I'm hearing a lot more people doing that, although there are horrible stories of terrible things happening. Seems like more people... Go ahead.
Alan, there needs to be a challenge now to our churches. I know individual churches have done this, but this needs to be organized by the denominations themselves, where there would be a collective effort all across the Southeast of all the denominations to take in families. If we don't do this, we are going to have a great problem. And I think the churches can do it. I think they'd be willing to do it, but I don't think anybody has challenged them to do it. And I hope maybe tonight, right now in your program, some denominational leaders are listening, and will put a plan into action where their churches can start absorbing these people.
Well, that's a great challenge, Reverend, and there have been, I know we've reported a lot, and there's been a lot of reporting on some of the negative, but there's been a lot of stories of generosity that frankly are inspiring. Thank you, Franklin Graham, with us. on our Newsmaker line. Joining us now from outside the Astrodome in Houston, where thousands of refugees are being sent, is our own Greta Van Susteren. Greta, what do you see on the ground?
You know, Sean, it's quite sobering to come here and actually see it with your own eyes. There's nothing like seeing it with your own eyes. It looks terrible on television. We'll come down here and see it, and you will see the most incredible misery. On the positive side, Texas, terrific, opened its arms. It is doing everything it can for these people who have evacuated from the Superdome. But you walk through the Superdome, and we walk through the Superdome, and you see people who have no clue what they're going to do. They have no jobs. They have no clothes. They don't even have identification or Social Security numbers to get jobs. People are literally begging and begging for help. Now, I don't know what more can be done. Texas certainly, I tell you, my hat goes off to the state of Texas, certainly goes off to the city of Houston, and everybody in there working very hard. But it's a very practical matter. That is an accident waiting to happen. That is a powder keg right in there, because these people are desperate. They need our help. I don't know what the answer is, but we can never underestimate the misery that's going on behind me. And the worst part about it for me, this is the best place. This is better than New Orleans, better than Alabama, better than Baton Rouge. I got the best spot of all.
Yeah, well, because I'm looking at the video there, Greta, and I see the cots. From what I understand, they have pretty organized food efforts. The people of Houston have been unbelievably generous. Food, water, medical supplies. I assume there'll be some governmental assistance to go on with jobs and Social Security cards and all that stuff, too. So a lot of goodness taking place there.
Without any doubt, Sean. I mean, I'm telling you, these are very good, decent people down here working. I talked to the man who owns about 130 Papa John's here. He spent about $25,000 his own money today making pizzas for everybody right out here in the hot sun. All of his employees, got about 1,200 employees. Everybody volunteered to help. I can tell you story after story of the most incredible, inspirational stuff. I mean, the people down here, even people from New Hampshire, the Red Cross. I mean, I can tell you so many stories, and that makes all of us feel great. But the bottom line is, beneath those wonderful stories, we have a very serious problem. We have a health problem, we have a jobs problems, and we have the problem that when sort of the euphoria of being here, and believe me, the people have a euphoria from being here. They have beds, they have cots, and it's safe. No one's shooting at each other inside the Astrodome or outside. But when that euphoria lifts and people are saying, now what? And they have no homes, missing people. There's a whole board inside the Astrodome with names and numbers I'm looking for. Might be looking for a daughter, might be looking for a brother, a mother, telling about how I heard one story tonight about a man whose aunt has been on a roof for 5 days. I mean, the stories just keep rolling and rolling and rolling. And well, you know, there's much to be said about the inspirational stories. And like I said, my hat really goes off to this community, is that underlying all of it, we have a very serious problem on our hands, and these people are really hurting, and they're going to hurt more.
Greta Allen, do they have enough food, enough cots? As you mentioned cots, they have enough facilities, and they need more volunteers. What else is needed there?
You know, I think it's the long-term stuff, Alan. I mean, you know, yes, I think they have enough cots. I mean, now they only have 4,000 people have arrived. The buses are rolling in all the time. You see people, I mean, it's like out of some nightmarish movie, because I've never seen anything like this in my life where people are rolling in or homeless. Fortunately, I've been lucky I haven't seen that stuff. Lots of cots, lots of food, lots of all that stuff. The big problem is the long-term problem, you know, people trying to rebuild their lives, because it's like they wake up one day and all of a sudden, you know, things we take for granted, our driver's license, so that, you know, we can do anything. They don't have that.
Yeah.
A Social Security number so you can get a job. They don't have that. I mean, money to buy a pack of cigarettes if you should smoke, and you shouldn't smoke, but if you want that, they don't have that. I mean, they literally walked out on their lives, and now, you know, there's sort of a euphoria among some tonight because they're dry. But I've walked through, I've seen elderly people lying alone, cuddled on cots, and on the one hand, I think, you know, boy, these people here in Houston, they're the best, giving them warm, nice cots. And then I step away and I think, oh my God, that poor woman. I mean, that's the kind of thing. It's like you see the very best in humanity, but we also face the very cold reality of what has happened to people, uninvited, unexpected. And let's not forget, this is the low income part of our society. The rich people, they're lucky. The middle class people, they're lucky. Most of them are able to get away and go places. These people aren't, and they don't have the necessary resources. It really is incumbent upon us, you know, to make a decision. How do we help them? They want help.
All right, Greta Van Susteren, she'll be coming up from the Astrodome tonight in about 12 minutes from right now when she goes on the record. We'll be watching tonight. Greta, thanks for being with us tonight. And joining us now is Lieutenant Governor of Louisiana. Mitch Landrieu is with us. Mr. Lieutenant Governor, it got so bad, I've heard that I was speaking to John Breaux earlier today, that even the mayor of New Orleans is not safe to walk down the streets of his own city without protection?
Well, it's really a really terrible situation. I really want to take a minute to thank everybody in the country for all their thoughts and the prayers. As Greta said, and I heard Franklin Graham and Senator Vitta, this is a problem. It's just so catastrophic. It's hard to even imagine. I think it's fair to say from talking to the FEMA experts that they've never seen anything like this. And Greta accurately described the incredible difficulty that you see, the pain and the agony and the frustration with dealing. We've never dealt with it before. We're in uncharted territory, and everybody down here is doing the best we can. But you can see on the TV that it's just 4 days now into this. It's been incredibly difficult to get supplies
We're almost
to everybody.
out of time. Mr. Lieutenant, is the lawlessness getting under control?
Yes, it definitely is. The governor has asked the president to assist with that effort. It appears as though now we're beginning to get a handle on that. I do think that there are many, many people that have evacuated that are now in safe places, and that is getting under control as quickly as possible. But as Greta said, this is going to be an effort that's going to require everybody's attention, and we're really going to have to work hard at it.
All right. Lieutenant Governor, your state is in our thoughts and prayers tonight. We wish you the best, and I know America will be helping. And coming up next, we want to take you live to one of hundreds of shelters caring for the displaced, and then we'll discover the condition of the intensive care patients from Charity Hospital in New Orleans. They were brought to safety earlier today. A lot more to come.
Something bold. Outback Steakhouse. No rules, just right. I'm open. Tonight at Red Roof Inn, Bill stays in a business king room.
Look at the space.
And feels like a business king himself.
Multitasking. Chances of me working are remote.
Don't miss the redesigned, rededicated Red Roof Inn and Accor Hotel.
Of the United Methodist Church.
At TNC Chevy, it's our summer pre-owned sale. Due to the success of employee pricing, TNC has a huge selection of pre-owned vehicles. Now save when the Trailblazers are only $19,988. It's only at TNC Chevrolet in Milwaukee. Drive home happy.
Hyundai summer clearance has been held over, so save the dates to save big. Come get up to $4,000 cash back on select models. There are just a few days left to save on the V6 Hyundai Santa Fe. And don't forget, Hyundai's award-winning quality lets us offer America's best warranty. It's your last chance for up to $4,000 cash back. Held over through Labor Day at Hyundai. So hurry in. Get a Hyundai Santa Fe with up to $4,000 cash back at your Portland area Hyundai dealer.
Come to the ballpark and let's have some fun with the Salem Kaiser Volcanoes. This Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the Volcanoes finish the regular season with a 3-game series against Everett. On Saturday night, September 3rd, Jensen Real Estate presents the Volcanoes' annual Van Appreciation Fireworks Show. And Sunday, trade in your old hat for a new Volcanoes cap during our annual hat exchange. For tickets, call the Volcanoes at 503-390-2225. Come to the ballpark. Let's have some fun.
In September, Comcast has the hit movies you want with On Demand. Catch Tommy Lee Jones and Cedric the Entertainer in the action comedy Man of the House. A big man with a plan gets more than he bargained for in the hilarious King's Ransom. Kevin Costner and Joan Allen put 2 lives together in The Upside of Anger. And Ice Cube is out to save the nation at all costs in the action-packed XXX State of the Union. Hit the menu button and choose On Demand to order in a great movie anytime.
At TNC Chevy, it's our summer pre-owned sale. Due to the success of employee pricing, TNC has a huge selection of pre-owned vehicles. Now save when the Trailblazers are only $19,988. It's only at TNC Chevrolet in Milwaukee. Drive home happy.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Derry Alexander with some of the other stories making headlines. Judiciary Republicans releasing a tentative list of speakers for John Roberts Supreme Court confirmation hearings. After senators, 30 people are scheduled to testify next week about the president's nominee to replace retiring Justice Sandra Day O'Connor. Democrats haven't released their list yet. Israel and Pakistan holding their first ever public talks today in Turkey. The meeting was aimed at normalizing relations between the two countries. Israel hailed the diplomatic breakthrough as the first fruit of its Gaza pullout. And the price of U.S. homes going through the roof. A government report showing average prices rose more than 13% since this time last year. Federal regulators say there's no evidence they'll top out anytime soon. Our coverage of Katrina's aftermath continues with Hannity and Combs. Stay tuned. You're watching Fox.
We're back on Hannity and Combs. We now go live to Fox's own Molly Henneberg, standing by in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Molly.
Hey, Alan, I'm at the River Center, the biggest shelter for people who have been displaced from their homes. And actually, I was talking to a couple people today who do not like the term refugee. They've been hearing refugee in the media, not necessarily on Fox, but in the media. And he says, we're American citizens. We've had a tragedy happen. We're out of our homes. We are not refugees. And so the people staying here, they definitely have their opinions about who they are and what they are and what should happen next. Right now, what's happening here is that the Red Cross volunteers are giving out some juice before people go to bed, some pineapple juice and orange juice. But let me step out of the way and let you see what's happening. As always happens at night, you see all the cots and blankets come out. This place not empties out, but there are a lot fewer people here during the afternoon. Then at night, around dinner time, it starts really filling up and people get their cots and start preparing to go to bed. Curfew, we're told, is in a few minutes, and we're told the lights are going to go out. We're hoping to stay around and continue to do live shots for you. It depends if they really do turn off the lights and let us stay in here. I'd like to introduce you to our guest here, Don Wagner, who's from Venice, near New Orleans, and you found yourself in Metairie when the 17th Street Canal, the levee gave way. What happened?
All I know is the levee gave way. I seen water come in, and it came up in a matter of 15 seconds. It came up 4 to 5 feet.
And you found yourself here. How is the shelter?
The shelter is fine. You can tell they won't give us raises because of safety reasons. But other than that, you know, shelter's fine, good food. They take care of us.
All right, and now it's the challenge for Mr. Wagner to figure out where to go from
Molly,
here, as all these people have to do.
We thank you very much, Molly. We're going to take a quick break, and more of the sights and sounds of the rescue and relief effort coming up on Hannity and Combs.
We lost everything.
It's just sheer misery and hell back there.
The heartbreak, the loss, and the struggle to survive. It's the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. Geraldo Rivera is live on location.
Everything you knew, everything you thought was important, it's just gone.
Then rebuilding shattered lives. Sean and Alan on what it will take. And incredible stories of survival. Greta is live in Houston. Watch our Fox News Channel special, America's Challenge, Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern.
The GMC Yukon has the best V8 fuel economy in its class. Because GMC engineering is all about going the extra mile. Literally, the GMC employee discount has been extended on 2005s and now includes every 2006 Yukon. Get an 06 Yukon two-wheel drive SLE for $30,924 with your employee discount. The total value promise makes it easy. No worries, no hassles. It's right on the window. See your GMC dealers today.
Whether you're running a busy household or a small business, chances are you have a lot going on. Well, there's one place that can help you handle it all.
Don't you worry about a thing.
The UPS Store. If you need help with packing and shipping, need someone to print, collate, and bind a presentation for your small business, or a mailbox where someone can sign for your packages, let the UPS Store worry about it. That's our thing.
Don't you worry about a thing.
The UPS Store, the place for packing, shipping, and a whole lot more.
Stop treating me like a dead shrub, Nancy. I'm gonna beat this thing. Seriously, all the bushes point at me, they laugh at me. It's embarrassing. Oh yeah, dropping off your laundry, right. Why don't you just put it under the name Shrub Killer?
Feed it once a week, no more than a tablespoon per gallon. Should be okay. Thanks, Jen. No problem, Nancy.
Oh, hey, look at me.
Let me guess, you forgot the grass seed.
Ace, the helpful place.
How you look at things matters. For instance, if you knew Mass Mutual Financial Group included Oppenheimer Funds, Inc., as well as Bearing Asset Management and Babson Capital Management, giving our companies a presence on 4 continents and $370 billion in assets under management. Would you look at us in the same way? The right perspective changes everything.
Finally tonight, here are some of the powerful sights and sounds from this third dramatic day since Hurricane Katrina.
Right now, the days seem awfully dark for those affected. I understand that. But I'm confident that with time, you get your life back in order, new communities will flourish, the great city of New Orleans will be back on its feet, and America will be a stronger place for it.
I survived because of my roommate. I went through the ceiling in the attic. If it wasn't for him grabbing me, I would have drowned and died.
It's one of those disasters I think you could really only say it's biblical proportions.
We can rebuild our home and just clean up and start over.
All these people are in our thoughts and prayers still, and the American people have been very generous heretofore, and that is all the time we have left this evening. As always, thank you for being with us. We toss it now to Greta Van Susteren. She's going on the record live tonight from the Astrodome in Houston. Greta.
Sean, yes, live from the Astrodome in Houston. We're behind me in this building. There are about 4,000 people who have come from the Superdome in New Orleans, and we are expecting another 6,000 people to arrive at some point. Buses are rolling in all day long. You can hear trucks, you can hear the buses behind me. More buses have just arrived with people who are so forlorn, so full of despair. You cannot imagine the hardship that these people are facing. And believe it or not, this is the best spot. This isn't New Orleans where people are shooting each other, where there's rape and gunfight. This isn't Baton Rouge where there's trouble, or Biloxi or any of the other places. This is the very best spot because right here they have cots, they have food, but the one thing they don't have much of tonight, and that is hope, because things are really lousy for these people. They don't have homes. They don't know what they're going to do. They don't have driver's license in case they want to get a job, or Social Security. They have absolutely no idea of what's going to become of their lives. They're missing loved ones. The stories, one right after another, about having, I talked to one guy tonight, and his aunt has been on her roof for 5 days in New Orleans, and he says nobody will rescue her. And these people are the lowest economic strata of our society. They don't have the wherewithal to go to hotels. They don't have other houses to go to. They don't have anything to sort of help them except for us. And the one sort of bright light, and indeed it's a bright light, are the people of Houston. I cannot begin to tell you how terrific. Houston has opened its arms like you cannot imagine to this group of people who have such despair. They're giving them food, clothing, shelter. The jobs will be offered by people locally here. But bottom line is that we may have some euphoria tonight because there are beds and cots, but people inside are lying alone, all cuddled up. I saw them with my own eyes, all worried about what will happen in the future once the euphoria of the warm bed and the food wanes after tonight, as we go in tomorrow and as more people arrive. But again, this is the best. This is the best of all the locations, and this is lousy. This is horrible. But let's check in at one of the worst places tonight. That's New Orleans, Jefferson Parish. My colleague Anita Vogel stands by. Anita?
Well, Greta, as night falls here, conditions become downright scary along I-10 as literally thousands of people are waiting to get onto buses and be taken to where you are in Houston. Let me show you here what is happening. It is dark, it smells, there's trash everywhere. People are lined up just right here along the interstate waiting to be picked up, and in some cases it is a very long wait. Now, 90% of these people are from the inner city projects, housing projects, if you will, but then there are others. Let me introduce you to a couple of ladies who put their lives on the line, and that's why they're stranded here this evening. This is Susan Franklin and Mary Rose. They are from the Memorial Medical Center in uptown New Orleans. They basically refuse to leave to get away from the storm so they could take care of their critical patients, and now they're among the stranded here. Ladies, thank you for joining me. Tell me what happened to you.
Well, I'm just here as a representative of the senior management team and the physicians and all of the dedicated staff, at least 600 of them that put their lives on the line and have been there round the clock 24/7 since Sunday, taking care of patients, and now find themselves in this situation.
Susan Franklin, you're a hospital administrator. You had a chance to get out, but you didn't take it.
We couldn't. There are patients to be taken care of. Mary Rose, as a director of nurses, was right on the front line doing that. We have a hospital emergency preparedness plan that called for all Team A members to be present in the hospital for their duration, and we were there.
Mary Rose Bernard, do you have any regrets about staying behind? You could have gotten out, you could have been in a nice warm bed tonight, but instead you're out here.
No regrets whatsoever. I became a nurse 28 years ago to take care of patients, and I have a duty to my patients, and that's what we did. And we had doctors and nurses working round the clock since Sunday. We've had, if lucky, an hour of sleep every night. We learned to triage. When our elevators went out, we hand carried every patient 7 flights of stairs down the stairwell in the dark with flashlights positioned at every area on the stairwell to bring them down to the second floor and the first floor. We set up triage areas and essentially hospital wards. We came up with a nursing schedule to see who would care for what patients. I don't regret it at all because I'm a nurse, and that's what nurses do.
And ladies, I know you have very quickly a phone number you want to give out for your employees who don't know what to do.
Please, for all tenant employees who have so many millions of questions, call 1-866-303-3279. You can also get hourly updates at www.etenant.com on the website.
Thank you very much, and best of luck to you, ladies.
Thank you so much.
So these two brave ladies are among the many who are here tonight. They'll probably have to spend the night here before they can get onto a bus and get to where you are, Greta. They're very scared. As I mentioned, it's very dark here. There are a lot of people with nothing to do except wait for these buses to come. It is not a good situation here on I-10. Back to you.
Anita, thank you. We're joined now on the phone by Dr. Charles Burnell. He's an emergency room doctor who has been working inside the Superdome. Dr. Burnell, tell me what it is like inside that Superdome.
Pretty much chaos. It's difficult. We had difficulty maintaining a safe barrier for our emergency personnel as far as just keeping patients and families away and treating the ones that were ill. But our biggest thing that we tried to do was to go ahead and triage and find out which ones could be medevaced out, which were the salvageable patients, and decide which ones were the walking wounded, and really decide which ones we could do nothing at all about.
When did you actually arrive at the Superdome? When's the first time you began providing medical assistance?
We actually got in early yesterday morning, and upon our arrival there was note that there was going to be a riot in about 1 hour, so we had to get an escape plan as soon as we got within the dome. We had 2 other teams there that were working within the Hornets Annex, and we were a medical team that was designated through Acadian Ambulance Services to man the station within the Superdome, which we, after 2 hours and no electricity and no lights and no medications, were forced to pool our resources with the DMAT teams through FEMA. And after 3 moves, we finally were able to get to a little bit safer environment with the MPs helping to maintain some barriers, but we still had incredible difficulties keeping the families and the civilians away based on the fact that there were just not enough MPs or National Guard to help control and keep our safe environment.
Was it worse than what you expected when you first set foot in that Superdome? I realize, with the level of violence, it seems like everyone's worst nightmare, but were you expecting that, or was it beyond what you can even put in words?
The situation there, the first odor is that of urine and feces, and when you walk in the place, it's a very unstable, very high tension, very dangerous environment. And from the time we were in there, from the people grabbing on us and trying to get attention and trying to get help and trying to show us their loved ones that needed help, to the time we got out of there and could maintain any safe distance at all, but that barrier was completely broken. Every time there was an incident that broke out, National Guard had to tend to that and diffuse that situation, which left us uncovered the entire time. And it got to the point where, as medical personnel, we had to make a decision of whether or not to stay without protection or without adequate protection for some time and put ourselves at risk and continue to try to take care of these people, or whether we needed to get out.
Were there actually weapons brought into the Superdome? I mean, what's the violence, the actual violence inside the Superdome?
Well, we had several murders. We had 3 murders last night. We had a total of 6 rapes last night. We had the day before, I think there were 3 or 4 murders. There were half a dozen rapes that night. We had 1 suicide that night. Last night we had one of the military police shot in an incident through the leg, which we were able to medevac out in the middle of the night. And that has been our biggest problem, was getting the medevacs out, because we just could not logistically get those people out of there quick enough. All of our centers and all of our beds were overtaken with sick patients, and again, we ran out of resources. We did not have oxygen. We did not have any medications to speak of, except for some breathing medicines, which we couldn't even use because we had no oxygen to run the machines.
Are you going back?
Not until there is a lot better security down there, and I'm not putting my life in that type of a dangerous situation. I would love to help out to try to evacuate as many of these people as possible, especially the ones with medical necessity. But until I can ensure that I'm not putting my life in a significantly dangerous situation as I was before, I will not be back in the Superdome.
Doctor, thank you very much. Lieutenant Lawrence McCleary joins us. He's with the Louisiana State Troopers. Lieutenant, what's the status on the streets tonight? Are there shootings, or is it under control? What is it?
Well, it's still a little early to tell, Greta. The sun is going down, of course, and that's when the criminal element likes to come out and prey upon people. We're fortunate in that we have a larger contingency force down there to protect those